Hi, and welcome to Pilates Done Right. My name is Melanie, and today I'm here to take you through a short 15-20 minute workout. We just survived Hurricane Milton here in Florida and finally got our power back on, and we're ready for some normalcy. I don't have anything crazy worked out for this today. I'm just going to kind of take it where my body feels like it needs to go. To start, we're going to start with footwork, which means we've got our foot bar on high and 3 red springs on the Allegro 2. It would be 3 heavy springs or whatever you like for footwork. So I'll start by laying down on the carriage with the heels on the foot bar. I'll straighten myself out here. And we're in parallel with the hips or the feet inner hip distance apart. Arms are long by your side. I'll take an inhale, and as I exhale, press away long and bend. Just going to keep going here with that. So footwork is a great place to warm up the body. Just kind of get your head into doing the exercises and think about something else. I'm going to bring it down to the toes on the foot bar, still in parallel. The heels remain lifted about 2 inches, as if you're wearing 2-inch heels, and we want to keep that fairly stable the whole time. Knees tracking straight to the ceiling. I'll take a second here to check in with my abdominals, make sure they're pulling in toward my spine, yet maintaining a neutral spine. So unless I have need to imprint, which my body, I don't need to imprint my spine. So just working to maintain it very neutral. All right, we'll bring it to Pilates V. So the toes stay right where they are. We just connect the heels. And now the knees are about as wide as the shoulder blocks. Heels stay lifted slightly. And as we lengthen away, we're zipping the inner thighs together. One more. And then we'll take it out to heels wide on the foot bar. So finding about the same spot there. And we want a nice even turnout from the hips through the knees, through the feet. And as you can see, I've got my feet flexed back toward me. So the whole body is staying active here. Oh, I'm already feeling my legs. I've been a little bit negligent lately in my workouts. Go one more. All right. And we'll bring it back to parallel with the toes on the foot bar. I'm going to take calf stretch here, lengthening away. And we just lower the heels under the foot bar. And oh, does that ever feel good? If you've been on your feet cleaning out debris from the hurricane, or whatever you might be doing, this stretch here is just absolutely incredible. Just lift and lower a couple more times here. One more. Can't get enough of this one. All right, I'm going right into running in place here. So letting one heel drop under as the other knee bends. And you want to make sure when you do this that you get all the way out to the toes in between each rep. Otherwise, we end up with something like this where the carriage is hardly moving at all. That's not what we're looking for. So we want to be on the toes. And it's almost a bounce, not off of the foot bar bounce, but you can see the motion of the reformer here as we go. Knees are tracking straight to the ceiling. You can place your fingertips on your hips just to kind of make sure that you're maintaining nice and still torso, nice and still hips. Almost there. Last one. And to the toes. And we bend the knees, bring it home. I'm going to do a few bridges here, a couple of bridges. For these, you want to make sure the headrest is down. Mine is. That protects the neck in this. You have the option to either do it on the toes or the heels or the arches. We'll curl the tailbone up into a nice high bridge, getting a stretch through the front of the body here. Generally, your arms are down on the mat. And roll the spine down, finding each bone as it touches the carriage. And again, if you choose to do this on your toes, you may very quickly feel your hamstrings. Sometimes some people get cramps here. If you do that, just make sure that you really work the glutes in this as well. Make sure that they're playing their part. So for a bridge, a third of the work should be the back, a third of the work should be the glutes, and a third of the work should be the hamstrings. And so when you get a hamstring cramp, it's usually because they're doing too much of the work. All right, from here, we're going to do a little bit of supine arm work. So I'll take hold of my loops, and I just remembered I need to drop a spring. There we go. Now we're on 2 reds. So you'll take hold of the regular loops. In our studio, the way we have this, it's the long loops. I have it on 2 reds with the long loops. So you could also do this on a red blue, which is a heavy and a medium, and do it on the shorter loops, which would be regular in the studio. So regular is whatever fits over the shoulder blocks. All right, from here, bring the knees to tabletop, and we'll just draw the arms down and lift. And if you didn't understand that strap length thing, just do whatever you would normally do for any of the supine arm work or the 100, whatever is comfortable for you. You can adjust the weight as needed. If you like an added challenge here, you can curl the head, neck, and shoulders up to the tips of the shoulder blades. I'm not feeling super into this right now. A little tired. And I'm going to go into some circles here. Down through center, out, around, and up. And reverse, out, down, around, up through center. Now I didn't count reps here, but I kind of just have a feel for how many I do. And we want to get about the same amount in both directions so that your body works evenly. That should be about that. Next, I'll do some tricep work, so bending the elbows, and we just bend and straighten here by our side. Now, totally okay to have the elbows resting on the carriage, as you see me doing. If you're not comfortable there, you can also hover them slightly off the carriage. So whatever is comfortable for you here. I prefer it down. 2 more. Ooh, I'm sweating. Last one. Realize that may have been 3. Iron crosses next, and last. Arms out to the side. We just open and close like in a jumping jack motion here. And we want this work to connect all the way through the back. Oh wow, I am feeling my arms. Last one, and rest. Now, really nice stretch to do here is just a variation on angels. So I got my feet together in the center of the foot bar. Arms are out to the side, and just letting my knees float over toward the opposite side of the room. And I'm keeping my right shoulder down, so we're getting the most out of this rotation here. Then I'll come up through center and float the knees the other direction. Oh, just got a chiropractic adjustment all the way up. That was lovely. Back up to center, and we'll go into feet and straps. Whew. Now the way we have our loops and our the length that we have our loops here makes it work for the same weight both on the arm work and the feet and straps. So do whatever you need to for adjustments on springs before you get into this here. All right, we'll just start with lower and lift. So your range for lowering and lifting is determined by how far down you can get your legs without your rib cage wanting to pop up. So as soon as you feel like that start to happen, that's too far. So we want to keep the range just within where your upper body stays still. And then as we go up, we want to stay in the neutral spine and stay lengthened and anchored down at the hips. So here is actually where my hamstrings are going to allow me to go today. A little tight. But you can see, I'll just move my arms here so you can see as soon as I let go of the neutral spine and let my legs go up, then I start to roll the hips up. That's not what we want here. So we want everything to stay still on the carriage. So definitely still abdominal work here. We're going into circles. And you can make these as big or as small as you like. Oh, I am jiggly here today. We want to keep it as controlled as possible. If you're, having an off day, you may be a little more jiggly like I am today. I'm going to reverse, get the same amount in the other direction. Sometimes I'm better than this. So, your body kind of does whatever its level is that day. It's not always the same, and that's okay. Definitely not in one of my strong days today. Ooh. So that tells me as we go along, I'm not going to do anything out of the ordinary. I'm not going to do anything super strenuous because obviously my body needs to dial it back and take it easy. Ooh, cracking the knees too. Going into frogs here. So with frogs, we keep the heels together, the toes apart, about a fist distance apart. So like a Pilates V here. And as we bend the knees in, we bend them toward the shoulder blocks and then lengthen away out to that 45-degree angle. Bending the knees in, lengthen away. We'll go for one more. And then I want to do some swimming frogs because I love them. So bend the knees in, legs out to a capital V, drag the heels down together. Bend the knees in, capital V, heels down together. Bend the knees in, capital V, heels down together. Last one, capital V, heels down together. Then we reverse straight back out to the capital V, heels down and together, knees apart. Press the carriage away like a frog. Capital V, heels down together, stretch away. Capital V, heels down together, stretch away. Last one, heels down together, stretch away. Oh, okay. I'm going to take the Russian kick stretch here. So we're bending one knee in and letting the other leg lengthen out to the side. I don't do this one often, but I actually love it. And we'll lengthen back away to switch. Now we bend the left leg in and the right leg goes out. Now as you do this, you want to keep both hips anchored to the carriage. That might take a few reps to kind of figure out where exactly to aim your leg. So I've got my heel right to my glute here, and the other leg is out just where I'm getting that good stretch. We'll do one more time to the other side. And it's totally fine to use, as you see me using my hands for support here as well. So whatever you need to do, this is just a stretch. And last one to this side. Good. Last thing I want to do here, not an actual short spine massage, but I just want to do the modification for it. So to do that, we're going to send the feet up overhead just a little ways till the lower back is rolled up and off. Then we'll bend the heels down and together and roll back down, stretch away. Send the feet up just a little ways, heels to glutes, stretch away. And you can see in this part right here, you may not be able to see actually, I'm in a Pilates V, so my knees are slightly separated just on the outside of the ropes. But this right here just feels super nice on the low back. It may not be comfortable for you if you have, like a lordotic low back or any kind of a spinal issue. This may not be right for everybody, so if it doesn't feel good to your body, just go ahead and come on out of those loops and we'll get set up for the next thing, which I'm going to do now. All right. So next thing we're going to do is the long stretch. Now if this is like a plank, so excuse me while I get my hair out of the way. This is like a plank, so if it's not a good exercise for you, if you have a hard time with planks, that's okay. Just do it with the knees down. If you are going to go for it, you'll want the headrest up. And we're going to switch it now to a heavy and a medium spring. So that's a red-blue on the Allegro. Okay, so for a long stretch, if you're doing it knees down, just place your feet up against the shoulder blocks and go for a plank this way. And that is totally fine. I'm going to push myself a little bit and go into a full long stretch. So we'll place the feet in a space between the shoulder blocks here and come up into the plank. Here we go, and long stretch. So you want the head to be in alignment with the spine. A lot of people tend to hang out like this. So really just work to get your head up in alignment. My thumbs, I'm shaking, are on the same side as my fingers here, on the same side of the foot bar. And that's actually important. So, if something slips, we don't want to break the thumb. I'm going to go for one more. Whew. All right, bringing the knees down. I'll give my wrists a minute here. Okay. So now if you did long stretch from your knees, which is totally fine, we're going to go right into something here anyway. We're going into down stretch. So feet are up against the shoulder blocks, hands are still on the foot bar. We'll send the hips forward and the gaze will go up to the top corner of the room. Chest is open and shoulders are down and back. Hips are forward. Press the carriage back and lift the chest to bring it home. The finer points here, you can see the only thing moving is my shoulder joint. Everything else is staying in that, it may not look like a rocker position, but imagine you're putting yourself into a rocker position. So the gaze stays high the whole time. Chest is open and it lifts to bring the carriage in. And go for one more. About to get the hiccups. Go ahead. All right, from here, just take a little stretch. Letting my arms go forward off the foot bar. Just stretch out the low back a second. Last thing we'll do here is elephant. You either love it or you hate it, but most people actually seem to like elephant. So from here, we're standing on the carriage with the heels against the shoulder blocks. If you're shorter, you may need to take a step forward and that's fine. But I'm kind of tall, so I'm back here. And my hips, you can see, are back as far over my heels as I can get them. So I'm in a big hamstring stretch right here. Toes reach toward the ceiling. Send the carriage back a couple inches. And then you scoop the lower abdominals to bring it back under you. Press it back. Scoop the lower abdominals to bring it under you. As you go here, keep your toes lifted. Bring it back into that hamstring stretch each time. And we want to keep the shoulders and the upper body still. So it's very tempting here to bring this exercise into the shoulder joint, but really that's not what's happening here. The shoulders are still and the hands are still, whole upper body. The only thing working here is the hip joint and the lower abdominals. and the toes because they're working to keep up toward the ceiling. Last one, draw it in, and we'll bring it down to the knees. I keep an eye on my clock here. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of kneeling side arms today. So to get into this, and if you're not comfortable kneeling in this position, if you don't feel secure, you can just sit like this. That's totally fine. It's a little bit more of an abdominal challenge to kneel. If you are going to kneel, be very careful because you're going to be on a very light weight. So we're actually taking this down to 1 yellow. I've got a hold of the front loop in the direction I'm facing. And I'm carefully coming up into a kneeling position. So you can see here when I move, it's very wobbly, okay? So just keep your abdominals going here. If you're not comfortable, sit back over your heels, or you can get a sitting box if you have one. So arm is out to the side in the shorter loops here, and we'll just send the arm straight up to the ceiling and bring it back down. Straight up to the ceiling, bring it back down. Now you can adjust the weight a little bit just by moving your body. So if you move your body toward the foot bar, the weight will actually be heavier. If you move your body toward the shoulder blocks, the weight gets a little bit lighter. One more. All right, next we'll do a hug a tree, but it's not actually a hug a tree, it's more of a rotation here. And I love this one, it's super challenging. So what we're looking for is to rotate only the upper spine. That means that the shoulder is not going out like this and really pushing into that loop. We just want the rotation of the upper spine. And you also have to watch your hips here because they also will want to help out. So you'll see a lot of this kind of thing happening, and that's not what we're looking for either. Oh, and that's about it for me. We'll get one more here. Oh, all right. And my favorite in this position is draw a sword. So you see I switched hands. And here we go. So we're sending the elbow up and reaching up toward the ceiling, bending the elbow, placing that sword back in the sheath, imaginary. Sending the elbow up and out, bending, rotating. Now you can also see as I go here, I'm rotating my gaze with the strap. And that just adds a little bit of really nice rotation here. I don't think I've come across anybody that doesn't love the feel of this exercise. We'll take one more and bring it down. Now to change to the other side, sitting back over the heels, still remembering we're on that really light weight. So I'm just going to set the spring down, hold on to the foot bar as I turn around carefully. Okay, here I am. And coming back up to my knees carefully. That foot bar is always there for you to hold on to till you get stable. All right, abs are pulling in, and we're starting with this version straight up to the ceiling, bending the elbow down. I'm going to have to wrap up pretty soon. I've got some clients coming in. We'll take two more. And you'll find with these, one side is always going to be a little easier than the other. Taking this rotation now, and you can see I'm really working to keep my hips pointing forward and to make that rotation happen only in the spine, not the shoulder. So you can see from the back a little bit what happens here. I'll do a couple with the shoulder going into it. So what we're actually looking for is just upper spine. That makes the range of motion a little less satisfying here. That's what we're looking for, is to strengthen those muscles that rotate the spine. One more. Oh. All right, then we're going right into draw a sword. So switching hands, left hand on the short loop, right hand is just on the hip. And elbow up and out. Bend the elbow, bring it back. Rotating the neck as well, or the gaze to follow the strap. Oh, I love this so much. Who knew working out could be so much fun? I love Pilates so much. If you haven't figured that out, because I'm standing here doing this work saying, I love this. Oh, the weird Pilates instructor. One more. And bring it back in. All right, again, lightweight, so we're sitting back over the heels. Hang this up. And go ahead and add a spring so we don't go anywhere. Since I'm facing this direction, I'll start with Mermaid in this direction. So right shin is against the shoulder blocks. Left foot is crossed in front of me. I am now on one red. And here we go for Mermaid, side bending up and over. And as we do this, a couple of things I'll point out. We want this hip to be as far down toward that carriage as we can maintain. And we want to lengthen through this side. Even though we're bending into it, we want to keep it long. So rather than like really crunching down here, it's a side bend up and over. Okay, reaching long through those top fingers. Coming up, and again, up and over. And there is just really no place you can get this kind of thing like you can on a reformer. It's absolutely delightful. Did I mention I love Pilates? Oh. And we'll take one more. And we're going to add some rotation here. So we're rounding forward toward the foot bar. Actually, today I'm kind of feeling a little bit more like the other kind. So I'm going to take the hand all the way across the frame of the reformer and really pull into this stretch, which is quite lovely. Feels very nice here. I could stay all day. I could have stretched all night. Okay. Coming up, and we'll take a side bend the other direction. Good. All right. Turning around, now the left shin is against the shoulder blocks and the right foot is crossed in front of us. And here we go. Up and over again, trying not to collapse into that right side, reaching through the top fingers. And again, up and over. Another thing that we tend to do is round forward here. And so we want to try to not do that. We want to stay as if we're between two panes of glass. And the last one we'll take with rotation, up and over, and rounding around. Oh, to that lovely place right here. Now, if this is too much for your body, that's okay. Just put your hand on the foot bar or even just wherever in here is right for you. But just finding that rotation that's good for your body. Come out feeling like $1,000,000. Little counter stretch to the other side. To finish off, we'll take the lunge stretch. So I'm going to take this shin right behind the bottom of the foot bar here. The right foot, for my right foot, is up against the shoulder block. A lot of people have a hard time finding this one, so just to find it, you want to bend this front knee and send the carriage back so that the hips go straight down toward the floor, nice and square. And you should feel a stretch through the front of the hip that's on the reformer leg. It's very tempting to drop the head here, so we want to keep the head up in alignment, the shoulders down and back. Bring it in. And again, sending back, hips go down into that stretch. And one more. A lot of people love to take this out into more of a split here, demonstrating my inflexibility. This is as far as I get. Some people can go even farther. So if this feels good to you, take it where you want. Oh, that's all I got. Bring it in. And then we've got to, of course, even ourselves out on the other side. So now the left foot is up against the shoulder blocks. Right foot is behind the bottom of this foot bar. My shirt's going all over the place. And here we go, sending the hips straight down into that stretch. Oh, lift the head, Melanie. And coming in. When you find this in your body in the right place, and granted, it took me a good while before I really found it, but it is such a good stretch and so valuable to open up the front of the hip. A lot of people find it feel pain in the reformer knee here. So if you're feeling that, put more weight in the standing leg. You can also put a cushion under your knee. That's totally fine too, or both. Again, if you want to stretch out here on this last rep, oh, you can see me shaking. Woo. And here we go, all the way in. And you are done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. If you decided to play or follow along, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.